Hey guys, my name's Servey. I am a multi-gladiator Holy Priest, and today I'm going to be doing a Holy Priest PvP guide for patch 10.2. I'm currently the rank 1 Holy Priest in solo shuffle, and I'm also almost 2-6 in 3v3 as Holy Priest, which makes me in the top 200 of players. So I'm going to be covering pretty much everything that you need to know. I'm going to be doing talents, stat priority, PvP talents, healing rotation, and lots more, so stay tuned. I'm also going to timestamp the information in my description as well, so if you want to just see one bit, then you could do that as well. Okay, so to start off with talents, this is a pretty standard layout, and I'll put the talents code into my description. So you want to be always going powered life and void shift, so that's like really important. And then on this you want to be going miracle worker, which is super important, and divine image. So you can just copy this, and there are a few talents that I do change quite often, and I will be going through those as well. I'm not going to be looking at every single talent and explain what they are, but I will be explaining the ones that are really important for you to kind of understand. Okay, so in terms of what talents I change, it really kind of depends what I'm facing. So probably the biggest talent, or the most important talent, is whether you're playing Chastise stun or Chastise incap. So the stun obviously DRs with stun, and the incap DRs with polymorph trap. So if you're playing with like a mage, you want to be playing stun, in solo shuffle at least. But then if you're playing RMP, you don't want to be playing stun, because their sub-rogue obviously has lots of stuns. So this will take you some time to kind of realize when it's best to play stun and when it's not. But actually in solo shuffle, I don't really like playing stun because I play quite offensively. I always like to push in and chastise the healer quite early on. But I would recommend when you start out, you would be playing stun. And if I was to play stun, I would get rid of Cosmic Ripple, which is kind of a useless talent. Play stun and Everlasting Light, which is more of like a dampen talent that isn't really that necessary. But with the recent buffs to heal, I think it can be quite good in those damp games. And if I'm playing RMP Freeze, I will play MP Real Blaze. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which gives you free Holy Fire, or any setup comp really where you need to deal a lot of damage in a short period of time. I will play this, but in shuffle I never play it, because I mean, I'm sure you know, in shuffle people don't press cooldowns. You really kind of need to focus on healing rather than doing damage, especially as a Holy Priest. If you're a Disc Priest, it's a bit different. Okay, so that's the first things I change. I literally change nothing else on my talents. Everything else pretty much stays the same. And then on this side, so there's a couple things that I change. So the talents that I swap around are Inspiration, Mental Agility, Move with Grace, Void Tendrils, Mind Control, and Improved Purify, and also Protective Light. And these change literally every game. So if I'm facing anyone with high physical damage, so like a warrior or most melee cleaves, I will play Inspiration, and I'll also play Void Tendrils just in case they swap you, and I'll also play Protective Light as well. And if I know that they're gonna kind of maybe train me, I will also not play Mind Games, and I will play this build with Angelic Bulwark, which is like a shield if you get below 30%, and I feel like this way it's like you're much more safer in this scenario. But saying that, if there's anyone with a long range kick, so say if I'm facing Thunder, it's like Warrior, Elemental, Shaman, I will play Mind Games, because as a Holy Priest there will be times where you are casting all your instant heals and you have literally nothing left, and at that point you need to cast Flash Heal to get your Serenities back, and if there are kicks, that it could be a massive problem. So I like to use Mind Games as kind of a way to bait kicks so that I can Flash Heal and get my Serenity heals back. Okay, so that's talking about that. So if I'm facing a rogue, I will always play Move with Grace. I literally, whenever I see my teammate get stunned, and I have Leap of, what's it called? Leap of Faith, yeah. I will grip my teammate, and the amount of times that I've gripped Smoke Bomb is insane. And I promise you, if you start gripping, like instantly you see a kidney shot, just grip, you will grip so many Smoke Bombs. So yeah, I played that with versus rogues. The spell, so if I'm facing a Shadow Priest, I will play Improved Purify and Mental Agility. And Improved Purify basically makes you being able to dispel Devouring Plague, which is literally so important for Shadow Priest, is the rotation. And like earlier today, I was in solo shuffle and there was double Shadow Priest. The moment I saw Devouring Plague, I would just dispel. And this obviously makes it less mana. And the Shadow Priest will literally do no damage. I think I got like 100 dispels in that one solo shuffle game. So yeah, Shadow Priest, always playing Purify. You can play into Unholy DKs as well to get rid of their diseases, but I don't think it's that important versus Unholy DK. Maybe if you had a rogue on your team and they wanted to like get a clean re, but even then you could just Power Word Shield the dots anyway, so that he wouldn't break out stuff. So I wouldn't play that into DK. Occasionally, say if I'm facing like an Affliction Warlock, Boomy, or any like dampen comp, and I know that I'm going to be taking a lot of damage, I'll play Spell Warding as well, just for that extra 3% less damage. And I wouldn't play Void Tendrils. I'd probably play, oh, I don't know, maybe Mind Control or something like that. Or if it's a Shadow Priest, I'll play Impure Purify, and that'll be like my setup. Yep, so what else? Void Tendrils. Mind Control is really strong into like against Holy Paladins, especially say if it's like a Holy Paladin, Ret Warrior. You can literally just spam MC the warrior, and if the Ret doesn't come and stop you, there's literally nothing that they can do. So first Holy Paladin, you should abuse Mind Control for sure. Trying to think if there's anything else that I've missed. I don't think there is, but standard, I think I would say a standard like build for me is probably this. And then I kind of mix up depending on what I face, but everything else apart from these offensive, like sometimes I go like this if I'm facing a melee cleave. Apart from that, nothing else really changes. Okay, so I think that's it for talents. In terms of PvP talents, Phase Shift, I play it pretty much every game. I think it's so important, and you have so much outplay potential playing Phase Shift. I think you really need to be playing this every game. Spirit of Redeemer, every game. I pair it with Divine Hymn, which is insane, and I also got Seraphic Crescendo, which makes my Divine Hymn an insane cooldown. It literally, it's like, I'll talk about it later when I go over my big cooldowns, but it will literally be your saving grace in solo shuffle, especially as most games you will be able to get 2 off. Okay, let's see what I'm going to cover next. Okay, stat priority. So for a lot of the season, I literally went full Versa Mastery, and I went literally 0 haste, and I liked it, but then I found out that most of my Echo of Light healing is overhill, and I was just like, I mean, it still is even when I'm not full Mastery, but I just think that you do not need full Mastery, and I actually decided to go and get way more haste than I did before. So my current stats are 15% haste, 30% mastery, Versa even, and then the rest mastery. And I feel like this is a really, really nice sweet spot for Holy Priest at the moment. Well, I just think it's a really good stat priority build. So I would definitely recommend that. I'll leave my my character link in the description as well. So if you wanted to copy my gear, you can as well. Tier set, you want to be playing 4 set. I don't have the head, and I have the pieces on everything else. Yeah, 4 set is just insane. I mean, before allies with your renew take extra healing anyway, so before you would make sure that you had to keep renew up on every character. But with your tier set, you use Serenity, and it adds renew here. So I got 15 seconds of renew, or even more. But it is so important. And then your 4 set is just insane as well. And I track it with tell me when. So say, I mean, it's probably not going to proc, but when it does, I'll show. But basically, you get random procs, and it will give you a free charge of Serenity, which is your biggest heal. So that's really important. For my crafted gear, you want to be playing precog 100%. As Holy Priest, you have to cast a lot, which kind of sucks. But if you're good at faking, or you use mind games to bait kicks, you'll be fine. And the more you play, the better you will become at faking and getting those juicy precogs. And then my other one is just the extra mastery above 90%, because people don't often train you. So that extra mastery is just free healing. Because your mastery for Holy Priest, it is flat heals per second increase. Like, you're literally 40% of my healing is just duplicated over 4 seconds. So a lot of your healing is going to be coming from your mastery. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about healing rotation. So the game starts, you want to be putting a renew on everyone. And you want to be using Prayer of Mending off cooldown, and you want to be kind of keeping, so I would Prayer of Mending, renew everyone, and then the moment I start to see damage, or if I see someone like push in to try and CC me before they like do their big go, I will try and get my Spirit of Redemption off as soon as possible. So say you're facing a Death Knight, I know the Death Knight is going to try and grip blind me, so I will wait for him to grip me. I will instantly fade using phase shift, and then whilst I'm in the immunity fade, I will then Spirit of Redemptions divine him, and this will do insane healing. And then you just want to be spamming flash heals, and then if you need to, use a Serenity. And I would even use a Sanctify. So Divine Image is up here. Inaru is at your side. Whenever you cast a spell, it like copies it as well. So I actually tracked that here. So you've got 7 seconds. So if you're taking insane damage, you want to make sure that this is always up. But I don't really think about it that much, because you're casting Serenity so much in your rotation that it's pretty much always up. So I wouldn't worry about it. But it is good to know. So say if I'm in my spirit and I'm just hymned and I don't really want to use my Serenity, I will just use a Sanctify, just so that I have more healing going out, you know. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Divine Hymn as well. Basically, I play Gales of Song, which makes it heal loads more, and I use the Seraphic Crescendo as well. So Divine Hymn is actually insane. It does tons of healing, and it also puts a buff on all your teammates. I think you gain like maybe 30% extra healing or 40%, I can't quite remember, for 25 seconds. So everyone on your in your party will be, it's like they have a permanent Guardian Spirit on them, and they will take super, like, tons of extra healing. So you want to be getting a Spirit of Redemption, Divine Hymn pretty early off on everyone's big cooldowns. Okay, and so once that's out of the way, you just want to be using Prayer of Mending on cooldown, Flash Heals, Serenity. When they get to about 60%, you want to keep Serenity up. Prayer of Mending, Serenity. You can see that Weakauras here. So basically, every time you use a holy word, there is a chance to reset Prayer of Mending. So it's pretty insane. So I would recommend that, and I'll put a link to all my Weakauras in the description, and I'll go over them a bit later. And then you want to use your Sanctify if you don't have Serenity. Use your instant Flash Heal procs. Sanctify. And then if they're getting really low, or you're in a stun and they're getting low, then you will Guardian. And this, you don't want to ever proc Guardian, because you play, where is it? you play this here, Guardian Angel. When Guardian Spirit expires without saving the target from death, it reduces its cooldown to 60 seconds. So I think it's a 3-minute cooldown usually, but you don't want to be using it for death. I mean, there are times when you have to, because you're literally going to lose the game if you don't. But you want to be using it, say they're like 5%, you want to just Guardian. And also Power Word Life, you want to be using this whenever you can. So if they're below 35%, always prioritize Power Word Life over everything. It's really important because it's just an insane heal, like especially with Guardian. If they're like 5%, Guardian Power Word Life, that will like top them to like 100%. And you want to kind of save your Serenities because it's really important to get a good management system. Because you can like run out of Serenity really easy, and then you have no heals, and you'll force a flash heal, and it's just really bad. But there will be times when you literally have no instant class, like here now. I have no instant class, I don't know what to do, they're dying. Then you use Apotheosis, which resets your Serenity and your Holy Word Sanctify. And when you are in Apotheosis, it's really important that you cast as much as possible, because it reduces the cooldown by 300% when you cast. So I have no Serenities, Apotheosis, Serenity, Flash Heal is 43 seconds. It takes 20 seconds off, so you just spam Flash Heal, you're getting it back. Serenity, Serenity, Serenity. Keep casting, because it's so important that you get these Serenities back, so you have enough healing to keep everyone alive. Because as Holy Priest, it's really tough to keep people alive because you have no damage reduction. Every other healer has damage reduction, like Priest has pain suppression, Shaman has urban, or Holy Priest, no, Holy Paladin, they have sacrifice. Holy Priest, they have nothing. You are just doing raw healing, and it's gonna suck some games. Some games you're gonna think, God damn, like Holy Priest sucks, but I think Holy Priest is actually in a really good spot right now. You just gotta really manage your Serenities well, and obviously the more games you play, the better you will be. I mean, I've mained Holy Priest since Season 1 in Shadowlands, and I was a Disc Priest before that, so I've spent many hours playing Holy Priest. So it's kind of like natural to me on how I rotate my cooldowns and how I reset my Serenities, and that will come with you. That will come in time with you as well. Damage rotation. So this is quite important, especially if you're playing like RMP, which is one of their strongest comps for Holy Priest. You want to be playing this. What am I doing? Let's just go like that for now. So MP Real Blaze, you want to be using this before the game even starts. So you're putting Prayer of Mending on your friends, and you're putting Renew on everyone, and then you want to be pressing that because it lasts 30 seconds, and chances are in RMP, you want to be doing a go as soon as possible. So you're going to be doing a go within 20 seconds. So it's good to just do that. And then you literally have 3 Holy Fires ready to go. And I did play this in Solo Shuffle as well, but I recently changed to this because it's just like, I think it's like 1% extra healing on Cosmic Ripple. And games do go to dampen in Solo Shuffle. So I was kind of testing this, and I think it's not a bad setup, and I feel like you don't really need to do damage in Solo Shuffle. I feel like it's more important to keep people alive, you know, because the amount of times people will not use cooldowns and they will just die. I mean, Solo Shuffle, it's an awful bracket, but if you invest the time in, fortunately, I've been quite lucky. I do think Solo Shuffle was very like kind of RNG and luck based. But I only have like 130 games played, and I'm #1 spot, so there is a certain skill element to it as well. So yeah, so damage, you just want to be using Holy Fire whenever you can. Mind games, of course, versus like Resto Druid or Shamans. That will really help because they have like built-in healing, like automatic healing. So mind games is really important into them. But to be honest, mind games is kind of bad right now, and I mainly use it as a way to kind of bait interrupts, so I can like free cast, you know. So that is how I use mind games. Big cooldowns. So I've already touched on it, but Spirit Hymn, you want to be using this on cooldown, so you want to be using it super early on everyone's cooldown. So I'm talking about Incalm from Boomy, Abomination from DK, Serenity from Windwalker, Metamorphosis from DH. All of these big cooldowns, instantly Spirit of Redemption and just him, and then just spam out flash heals, and you should not need to use anything else as well. Also, another thing that I am going to mention that I feel like a lot of Holy Priests don't play, and I actually think it's super important, is Symbol of Hope. I play this pretty much every game, and what it does is it gives you back 10% of your mana. So I always play Enlightenment as well, so you regenerate mana 10% faster, and then you have an ability that gives you 10% mana back as well, because as a priest you will go super quick, and there will be games where you lose just on mana, especially in solo shuffle. But what Symbol of Hope does, and what I really use it for, is to get back your teammates' defensives. So say if you have a warrior on your team, or you have a druid or a warlock, the moment they press their parry or wall or barkskin or unending resolve, you want to find a good moment to press Symbol of Hope as soon as possible when everyone's safe. And this will basically cut off 30 seconds. It used to be higher, but it was nerfed. But I still think it's insane. 30 seconds of their cooldowns. So when you get to late dampening, they will have their major defensive cooldowns 30 seconds faster. And this will make you win so many games. So many Holy Priests don't play it, and I think they're missing out big time. So I would definitely recommend playing Symbol of Hope and kind of mastering how to use that. What else? A couple of tips that I forgot to mention and that I'm going to add quickly is when you're facing an Affliction Warlock, it's really important to kind of track Dark Glare. And the moment that they press Dark Glare, that is all their damage, you know. And when you're in Spirit of Redemption, you can dispel and you won't get any backlash from that damage. So what you want to do, and it's not just Affliction, you want to be doing this versus Shadow Priests and Elemental Shamans. You want to be, as soon as you go in Spirit, the first button you press should be Dispel. So versus an Affliction Warlock, he's just pressed all his damage, you Redemption, Dispel, and then spam out heals, him, whatever, mass Dispel, and then you will be able to get another Dispel off before the Redemption's off. So you could literally void the whole of Shadow Priests, Affliction Warlocks, or Elemental Shamans damage throughout the whole of your Spirit of Redemption. So that is super, super important that you Dispel in Spirit when you couldn't Dispel outside of Spirit. So dispelling Unstable Affliction, for example, because you used to be able to fade Dispel Unstable Affliction and then you wouldn't take any damage, but they've changed that and you can't do that anymore. So you really need to abuse it in Spirit. And another thing is about Shadow Word Death. You can death all types of crowd control, Polymorph, Sleepwalk, Priest Fear, Warlock Fear, Repentance. So many CCs can be deafed by crowd control, and you really want to be keeping an eye out for when you are being casted crowd control and when you can deaf as well. So, and in time you will get better at this. You probably won't be that great to start off with, and that's okay, you will get better. And also, say if you're like running towards a priest, you could have like a little duel with the priest where like you fade and then you deaf, and then maybe you'll deaf their fear, and then you can fear them. So you kind of want to be using fade and deaf to avoid CC, and then maybe you can like create an outplay around that. And also fade is super important for avoiding CC. I feel like especially versus Ret Paladins, they kind of charge at you on their horse, and it's so obvious that they want to Hand of Justice you. So you just fade it and it's easy. And then if they don't, and often if you fade their Hodge, they will blinding light you. So what I do, I fade the Hodge and then I spam death, and then I'll death the blinding light, and literally all his crowd control is wasted. And like the best rets in the game do this. So yeah, I mean, that's just one example of how you can outplay someone, but fade and death, there's so much outplay potential. So I definitely recommend you kind of practicing that when you can. I'm just gonna add a few more add-ons that I think are really important. So you're obviously going to be needing Omnibar. This is going to be how you track players' kicks. So when you fake them, you know when you can free cast. Omnibar is super important. Also, Omni CD is super important for you to track your teammates' defensive cooldowns. So say you're in crowd control and you see that your DH has wall up and that is using it. That means that you don't have the trinket, you know. So Omnibar is super important for tracking cooldowns. And I think another thing that especially lower rated healers do is that they waste their trinket super early. You want to be kind of really greedy with your trinket, and I often always pair my trinket with Void Shift. So if I am watching my DPS, they're really low and they have no defensive cooldown. Say it's, there's a Shadow Priest and say he has no dispersion and he's already life swapped and I'm in crowd control, then I will trinket swap. But I would not trinket swap if he had dispersion, and I would just trust that he would disperse. And this is why solo shuffle is so kind of hard to push, because especially with lower rated players, you can't really trust them to press their buttons and they just die without using cooldowns, which really sucks. But you will find you will get lower rated lobbies and you'll get higher rated lobbies, and you kind of will figure out, right, this is a lower rated lobby, so you kind of know that they're not that trustworthy to press their buttons. Whereas if you get like a rank 1 Gladiator lobby, chances are you can trust them to press their cooldowns, so you can hold your trinket. Okay, macros. So for macros, I have stop casting macros for pretty much everything. As a Holy Priest, you're going to be casting Flash Heal a lot, and there are going to be times where you need to dispel and just cancel a cast. So stop casting makes it easier. So I have stop casting Guardian, stop casting Mass Dispel, stop casting Dispel. Really important. I have a stop casting Void Shift as well. And Angelic Feather, so I use a cast at player Angelic Feather, so I could just press this and then it will instantly give me the movement speed. It's just super easier. I don't like having to like press it down like on the ground. I can't be asked with any of that. But yeah, really important. I have a stop casting Fade as well. Okay, a really important macro, especially when you're facing hunters and mages. So say you're in your Spirit of Redemption, you're spamming heals, and a mage casts a Ring of Frost around you, or a hunter places a trap on top of you. If you have this macro here, cancel form, cast Shadow Word Death, and you're not on global cooldown, so make sure you're not on global cooldown when you press death, otherwise it will cancel the form and won't cast death. But if you press this off global cooldown in your spirit and you have a Ring of Frost under you, you will cast death first and you will just death their crowd control. This is super important because all the time mages Ring of Frost my spirit and hunters place traps, and it's just a waste of their CC and it just puts me on DR. But I've seen so many Holy Priests that don't use this, so really get this macro, it's super important. I also have a Cancelaura Spirit of Redemption stop casting Void Shift macro, because say if you're in a really late game, you're on your second spirit and you're spamming all the heals but they're dying anyway, you press Void Shift, it will instantly cancel the form and void swap you as well. So that is super important. You want to be doing that. Stop casting Leap of Faith as well. And then I have a at cursor Holy Word Sanctify, so I don't have to like move it or anything like that. I also have a mouse over macro for power infusion, so I just have to go over my teammate and press power infusion, and then they will get the haste buff. I don't have to like click on them or target them or anything like that. Also, another really important macros that you need to have as Holy Priest is Arena 1, 2, 3 Chastise macros. This is so important for you to get those quick chastises. Say you're facing, so say if I'm in playing RMP and it's a Resto Druid and then, I don't know, 2 other DPS, and my Rogue Mage sap one of the DPS and then cheap shot bomb the other DPS, I will be spamming my Chastise macro to chastise the Druid instantly. And then my Druid comes out, their Druid comes out, he's instantly chastised, and I'm not targeting him because it's my macro. And then we could do a massive swap on the Druid and I could fear the DPS. So that's just one example of how important it is, but also with Boomy as well. Say if a Boomy opens or a Feral opens, I instantly chastise them because I'm kind of spamming my macro, you know. So super important, you need to get these, like you just need to get those. It's super important, and kind of learn how to do it. They're key bound on my shift 1, 2, 3, so it's nice and easy for me as well. I think that's kind of it for macros. Dispel magic, that's obviously really important. You want to be purging a lot, purging buffs, purging Earth Shield, and you want to be trying to purge Life Bloom as well when you can. Obviously you need to prioritize healing, but in those offensive moments you want to be purging. And a lot of players will cast Holy Fire, but you need to kind of understand, if you purge an Earth Shield, you're probably doing like 100k damage, and if you purge a Life Bloom, that is going to be miles more important than just casting one Holy Fire. So you kind of really need to understand when it's good to cast Holy Fire and when it's good to purge. I'm going to talk a little bit about Weakauras. So I have loads because I play lots of classes. I have a Guardian proc Weakaura, so whenever my Guardian procs, it comes up with like a loud noise to let me know that I'm not going to have Guardian back that game. Prayer of Mending, Epiphany proc, super important, because I could Prayer of Mending, Serenity, and then it will let me know that Prayer of Mending has been reset, and then I instantly press Prayer of Mending, because like here, I think this was a really quick game actually. Let's go here. Like Prayer of Mending is a lot of my healing. I actually thought it was higher, but yeah, it's like 11.4% of my healing, and I just press it off cooldown, and yeah, it's just insane. I love Prayer of Mending. Just, you see it, press it. What other Weakauras do I have? Ray of Hope dynamic group. So I was a main. So before Divine Hymn had this talent, I think this is fairly new, this talent, I would play Ray of Hope, and I played it literally pretty much every game. I still love Ray of Hope and I do miss it, but I think it's kind of unnecessary right now, and I feel like especially in solo shuffle, you Ray of Hope someone and they could be like full health, and they'll still press cooldowns because they just see their health bar low and they think they're dying. So I feel like it's hard to get good value from Ray of Hope, when especially in solo shuffle where your team might not understand the spell and how it works. But yeah, if you do want to play Ray of Hope, which you totally can, I know I think Zen plays Ray of Hope, and a few other Holy Priests, you need this Weakaura, and it basically tells you, I'll do a little demonstration now. So you Ray of Hope, and it comes up and it tells you if they're positive health or if they're negative health. So it's really important, and obviously if it's all red, they're gonna die, you know. But it's just super handy, and it makes life so much easier. And I played Ray of Hope season 1 and season 2, so this honestly is a lifesaver. Any others? Friendly Intervene, that's quite important. I think they're only the most important. A precog Weakauras, because obviously when you have precog, you want to be casting as much as you can, because you honestly, Holy Priest love casting, and when you can do it freely, you gotta abuse it, you know. Yep, I'm pretty sure that wraps up my Holy Priest guide. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I am going to start streaming regularly as well, so I'll put a link down to my Twitch. This is my first YouTube video, so if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and a subscribe, so I kind of know that this sort of thing is in demand, because I kind of thought that there isn't that much Holy Priest content out there. I know Zen streams a lot, but there's no like PvP guides or anything like that, and I just thought I might as well do one for the lols, you know. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.